Hello and welcome back. Today on the bench we have the Colt Delta Elite 10mm. The pistol was first available in mid-1987, and the Delta Elite is the government model that's redesigned and re-engineered for the very powerful 10mm auto cartridge. Now at the time it was the only 10mm semi-automatic that was being manufactured in the United States. The pistol itself was marketed for law enforcement officers, handgun hunters, and for personal defense. And I've got a quote here from the 1988 Colt catalog, and it states, "The 170 grain hollow point 10mm bullet leaves the muzzle of the Delta Elite at a velocity of 1,300 feet per second, 150 feet per second faster than most conventional 9mm. And it also goes on to say, muzzle energy is almost twice that as the 45 ACP, and see ballistics table in parentheses. Now, in referencing the ballistics table printed in this Colt catalog, it gives the nominal test results for 4 different jacketed hollow point bullets. The 170 grain jacketed hollow point for the 10mm produced a muzzle energy of 731 foot-pounds at a velocity of 1,300 feet per second. The 115 grain jacketed hollow point for the 9mm produced muzzle energy of 345 foot-pounds at a velocity of 1,160 feet per second. The 150 grain jacketed hollow point for the 357 Magnum produced muzzle energy of 535 foot-pounds at a velocity of 1,235 feet per second. And last but not least, the 185 grain jacketed hollow point for the 45 ACP produced muzzle energy of 370 foot-pounds at a velocity of 950 feet per second. So that gives you an idea of the energy produced from these 4 different test cartridges. The 1988 Colt brochure also goes on to say, these impressive ballistics combined with the proven capability and endurance of the government model design gives law enforcement officer or handgun hunter a combination that's hard to beat. And of course with the 10mm cartridge ballistics, it's easy to see why this is an effective round to handgun hunt with. So that gives you an idea of the design intent behind the Delta Elite. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and take a closer look at the external features of the blued version we have sitting here on the bench. Now, I think the first thing anyone notices about these pistols is, of course, the Delta Elite medallion that's on here. The red with a black background and the gold outline. Those really stand out. Now, here we have the pebbled, textured black neoprene full wraparound combat style grips, and you can see that these grips allow a really good purchase on the pistol, so you can get a really good grip on it. And then this pistol also sports a combat style hammer, and here you can see that hammer. And then it also has a lowered ejection port on it. And then also we have the 3-dot sights on it. And those are, of course, an improvement at that point in time over the older style sights. So those high profile sights there. And then we also have a 7-round capacity magazine in these. And then if we look at the bottom of the magazine well here, you can see it's slightly beveled for a little bit quicker insertion of the magazine. And then the pistol also incorporates the firing pin safety lock to help avoid an accidental discharge from dropping the pistol. And it allows a person to feel more confident in carrying the pistol in the cocked and locked position, or for those of you not familiar, keeping around in the chamber with the hammer back and the thumb safety engaged. So now I'm going to go ahead and stop the video and field strip the pistol so you can see some of the internal differences between this design and a standard government model. Okay, so now I have the pistol field stripped here, and I think the most noticeable difference between the Delta Elite and the standard government model would be this dual recoil spring system we have here. And this dual recoil spring system is rated for 23 pounds, whereas a standard government model recoil spring is rated somewhere in the neighborhood of 18 pounds, give or take a little bit, depending upon the load and the use of the pistol. And then you can see here we also have a composite plastic guide rod here, and I suspect that probably helped a little bit with the recoil forces encountered in these pistols with that hotter 10mm load. And then also we have a composite plastic recoil, or excuse me, mainspring housing here on this pistol. You start to see those in the 80s with Colt. And then also these early Delta Elite pistols were not without problems. I'm going to grab my government model over here, this old one here, and you can see that the top of the frame is continuous here at the rail for the slide, and it has this little horseshoe shape right here. Well, there was cracking that was experienced in some of the pistols in that area from the greater forces from that cartridge, and so Colt eliminated that cracking by simply removing the material right here, and that seemed to take care of the problem. So there's some of the internal differences between the Colt Delta Elite and a standard government model. So now I'm going to go ahead and take and put this back together, and I'll be right back. Alright, so here we are, the pistol back together, and I think that pretty much covers the introduction of the Colt Delta Elite in 10mm. It's a very powerful handgun cartridge combined with a time-proven government model, and that makes this pistol a very desirable combination. So on deck I have a few short videos highlighting some of the variations of the pistol, of the Delta Elite that is, and I hope you'll join me for those videos. So that concludes tonight's video, and I hope you've enjoyed it. So thanks for tuning in and watching, and have a great evening.